Lara, thank you very much for talking to us. Why has Egypt not yet fully opened its Gaza border for these millions of Gazans fleeing?
Well, I think we're asking the wrong questions, frankly. We're missing the bigger picture here. Instead of asking why Egypt hasn't opened the border to allow Palestinians from Gaza to become refugees, we need to be asking why Israel has been allowed for the last 60 days now to commit a genocidal campaign in Gaza that's being described by a leading human rights organization now as the worst assault on any civilian population in our time and age. Why has Israel been allowed to forcibly displace close to 2 million Palestinians in Gaza and destroy the majority of buildings in Gaza, including families' homes and apartment buildings? These are the questions we need to be asking.
And Lara, you're a Palestinian-American international lawyer and activist, so you should know the answer to this and help us understand more about the breach or potential breach in international law by Israel. What's your take on that? Because they keep on ordering the civilians to move further south and then further south still. Is this a breach of international law?
Well, absolutely. Israel has made it very clear that it is trying to forcibly displace Palestinians from Gaza, just as it did the majority of Palestinians from all of Palestine in 1948. Just days ago, we had Netanyahu speak of needing to thin out the population of Gaza, and a proposal was presented to U.S. lawmakers advocating for the forced transfer of 2 million Palestinians from Gaza to 4 neighboring countries. Early into Israel's onslaught, we saw Israeli intelligence documents released proposing expelling all of Palestinians from Gaza into the Sinai. Israeli politicians are also writing op-eds to encourage U.S. to take Palestinian refugees from Gaza. They're trying to frame it as a humanitarian solution. But let's be very clear. Israel is committing a Nakba in Gaza. It's a genocidal onslaught with the stated intent of ethnically cleansing Gaza. We must reject this premise and support an immediate permanent ceasefire and understand that Palestinians deserve the right to live on their land in freedom.
And Lara, Israel's been repeatedly urged to follow the laws of war. Is more pressure needed from the international community? And if so, what more pressure can be put on Israel?
Of course, more pressure is needed because until today, Israel is continuing every day to slaughter hundreds, if not over 1,000 Palestinians. Ever since the so-called humanitarian pause has ceased, we have seen an increase in Israel's brutality against Palestinian families, particularly concentrated in the south, where we know that the majority of the Palestinian population in Gaza has now been concentrated. On the point of Israel following the laws of war, I just want to be very clear that Israel has violated every law of war that there is in the last 60 days. They have attacked hospitals, they have killed UN workers, they have killed journalists. They are violating the law of proportionality and also the law on the distinction between civilians and combatants. In fact, we know that according to an investigation published by 972 magazine last week, which was based on interviews with current and former members of the Israeli intelligence community, that Israel is actually intentionally targeting Palestinian family houses with families inside of them. And the purpose of this, according to the Israeli intelligence individuals who were interviewed, is to, quote, harm Palestinian civil society, to create a shock that, amongst other things, will reverberate powerfully and lead civilians to put pressure on Hamas. We have to be very clear that this meets the definition of terrorism and without a doubt constitutes a war crime.
Lara, thank you very much for your time this evening. Lara Elborno speaking to us.